Senator from West
Madam
Virginia.
President, I want to thank my colleague from Ohio, Senator Brown, Senator Stabenow, and Senator Casey, all those who feel as strongly as we do and have constituents in our state who really helped build this country to what it is today and deserve the respect that we give them and also the hard fight that we're going to make sure that we do for them. We're here today to bring attention to the issue of the American workers' pension. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak today in the ever-present issue that our retired workers face, the security of their pensions. My colleagues, I've come to the floor today to speak on behalf of some of America's hardest workers. It has been 285 days since I introduced the American Miners Act, which would protect miners' pension from becoming collateral during coal mine bankruptcies. This is something that should have been done. It's been on Leader McConnell's desk for quite some time. We could have taken care of this a few years ago. We got the health care done, but they split it apart and we weren't able to get the pensions. The miners rely on their hard-earned pensions in retirement that should be secured, even if the coal companies file bankruptcy. We must act, and this cannot happen without bipartisan support. The coal miners, auto workers, Teamsters, steel workers, and every other worker that invest in their pension fund deserve to have stability and security in their retirement. The multi-employer pension system in the United States is in crisis. Approximately 130 multi-employer pension plans, including the UMWA, American 1974 Pension Plan or Pension Fund, are expected to become insolvent in the next few years. The Miner Pension Fund alone, a critical plan which covers 82,000 retired miners, 25,000 of those in West Virginia, and 20,000 full vested current workers, is projected to become insolvent by 2022. Now remember that date, 2022. But there's a catch to that. We have one major coal company, one major coal producer in the United States is on the fringe of bankruptcy as I speak to you today. If they fall into bankruptcy, this whole pension plan for the miners becomes in turmoil. By September 2020, within a year from now, the coal miners could see drastic cuts to their benefits if we don't act. If the UMWA pension fund becomes insolvent, it's going to be a snowball effect, an absolute snowball for the central pensions. If that happens, that it's been said that the recession of 2007 and 2008 will be a blip on the radar screen compared to what this will do to our economy nationwide. And the companies are going to walk away scot-free. It is unacceptable that some of our hardest workers have to beg for the money that they put into the pension fund over years and years of hard work. But this is not only coal miners' pension, it's bringing attention to all the pension plans in America. Everyone deserves to have stability in their retirement, especially those who have paid into pension plans for decades. This fight is for each and every one of them. To be clear, be very clear, pension is not given. You just don't go to work and say, we're going to give you a pension. That's going to be figured into your pay. And it'll be deducted from your pay for you as the employee to pay part, and then the employer is supposed to match. Someone's putting money, someone's taking money from someone's paycheck they didn't take home, and they're putting it, hopefully, into a safe place or a safe investment. Well, how can that be that when they go bankrupt, they lose everything? Who gets it? Who walks away with their money? That's what we're talking about. It's a funding set aside from the employee's paycheck through the career, and it's matched by their employer. Workers invest their pensions, they take cut and pay over time to ensure that they have security retirement. So rather than taking money home to their families, they said, this will be fine. 20 years from now, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, I'll have something that I can rely on that'll be basically stability for my family. So it's truly their money we're talking about. The law of the land, the law of this great country allows companies to not pay their former employees hard-earned pensions when they go bankrupt. They're not said, okay, if you're going to declare bankruptcy, the first thing you got to do is pay the employees. Pay the people that put the money in. Make sure they get their money. That's all. And then we can work out the rest. But no, we don't do it that way. Their CEOs receive bonuses. At the bankruptcy hearings, they'll get a bonus. All of the financial institutions get taken care of first. There's nothing left for the employee. For the person that basically it's their money, it's gone. Somebody else got it. It just doesn't make any sense at all, and it's not who we are as a great country. How the laws have evolved into that makes no sense whatsoever unless there was just pure, unadulterated American greed that allowed this to happen. And we've got to reverse it. It's the law of the land, and guess what? We're the lawmakers of the land. We're the ones that can change this. It's permitted because the courts and our bankruptcy laws continue to allow the companies to break their promises to their workers, shed their obligations to pay the hard-earned pension benefits, and they're able to reemerge from bankruptcy in good financial shape. They're able to shirk all of their responsibilities, take all somebody else's money, and come out of this, say, okay, we're ready to do business again. Well, I'm sorry, the same old is not going to happen. Then the federal government is left with the burden to provide a percentage of the pensions owed to these employees. This comes because we have federal guarantees. That's about ready to go bankrupt too. We're going to break it because of people not taking care of the people that did the work. So it comes straight out of the pockets of everyday Americans through their taxes instead of from the companies who walk away without managing their obligations to their employees and the families. That's why my colleagues and I have come together today to bring to light these issues that affects 10.6 million Americans. In West Virginia, every time a mine closes, our miners get the rug pulled out from under them. That's been happening for far too long. Many lose their jobs and livelihoods, and many others lose their health care and pensions. By the end of this year alone, 1,200 coal miners, their widows and families, members could also lose their health care coverage. For those of you who think this is just another big government program, let me share a little history with you. In 1946, due to the horrendous working conditions our miners faced every day, there was a nationwide strike coming right out of World War II. It brought our nation's economy to its knees. President Truman knew this could not continue. He dispatched the Secretary of Interior, Julius Krug, to meet with President of the United Mine Workers of America, John L. Lewis. They ended that strike by signing the Krug-Lewis Agreement, which created a retirement fund and health care benefits for our nation's coal miners and their families that had the full backing of the United States government. What we're saying is it was so important that we continue to work and produce the energy this country needed. And it wasn't basically the government giving them anything. They were just saying that every ton of coal that was sold, a portion of that revenue from that coal that was sold would have to go towards the miners' pension and the miners' retirement. Over 70 years ago, President Harry Truman recognized the importance of coal that our miners produce for this country and promised that the government would guarantee the coal miners benefit in return for their services. He was guaranteed that money would be there for them. In turn, our coal miners propelled the American economy, ushered in decades of economic growth, started an energy boom that made the U.S. a superpower and helped our nation to victory in 2 world wars. This agreement was a sacred promise between worker and our country, and it captured the very best of America. Unfortunately, over 70 years later, we're still fighting to make good on that promise. After securing health care benefits for retired coal miners, we proved that Congress can work together and put partisan politics aside. It's a philosophy that I have followed throughout my life in public service, in the West Virginia State Legislature, as the former governor of the state of West Virginia, and now as a U.S. Senator representing the state of West Virginia. I know that my fellow colleagues here today are fighting for a solution with me. I'm asking all of our colleagues here in the Senate and in the House to join us in this fight. To be successful, we must address this in a bipartisan way. It's not who we are to be divided as we have been. It's not who we are as a country to have this toxic atmosphere that we come to. I tell people every day, I go to work in a hostile work environment every day. People don't want to work together. They're not expected to work together anymore. It's the norm to fight, not where I come from. We never got anything accomplished fighting in West Virginia. It was always when we worked together. And I hope that together we can work out a solution to this terrible issue facing our nation and our workers, so that they can retire and live peacefully without a constant worry of losing their hard-earned pensions. Let me tell you what the average pension is paid to a miner when they retire. And most of this goes to the widows because the miners have passed away. Around $600 a month. $600 a month. And they've worked 20 and 30 years in the mines. So this is not a windfall for anybody. It's a substance. It's a substance that just keeps them, absolutely keeps them alive. So they can retire and live peacefully. That's all they're asking for. I'm proud to stand here today with my fellow colleagues, and we are going to fight to honor our commitment to our citizens of our respected states in this great country.